What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today I want to share with you a method that I use for learning new vocabulary in the languages that I am studying. So I like this method because it works with learning new vocabulary, and it also works well with learning new phrases and expressions. This is also nice because you can do it all from your browser, whether that be Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari. That's what I mean when I say your browser. And you don't have to download any apps, which saves you space on your phone. So that's always good. So typically, I'll be reading an article or the news in the language that I'm learning, and I will come across a word that I don't know. And, most people are probably going to look in a translator and just find out what that word is and then move on. But what I commonly hear from students is that they tend to forget new vocabulary very fast and they have a hard time retaining that. So this method is to hopefully get you to focus a little bit more on the words you don't know and really retain those and really build your vocabulary. So what I typically do is I have my browser open, and then I have the following websites all put up on tabs. I have Youglish, I've got Google News, I've got Twitter, lyrics.com, and then Lingy, I think is how you say that website. I don't know. And then I have a dictionary in the language that I'm learning. So not just a translator, but a dictionary that'll actually give me a definition using words from the language I'm learning, which is very helpful. And then at the end, I'll have Google Translator in case I still don't get the meaning of the word after using all those resources. So a typical scenario is that I will be reading an article and I come across a word or a phrase that I'm not familiar with. In this case, let's just say the phrase is mind-blowing, right? So I will take the phrase and I search for it on Youglish. This site is great for looking up phrases and words and hearing native speakers pronounce them. It's hands down one of the greatest resources for learning a language on the internet. For example, this one just pulled up 1,100 different videos with transcripts of people using the phrase mind-blowing, which in itself is pretty mind-blowing. See what I did there? Anyway, so I check a couple of these videos and I listen to the pronunciation and I do some shadowing and I repeat what the person on the video is saying. And then I just play it back. It's got some pretty nice playback features where you can just go 5 seconds back and listen to the word over and over being pronounced. And you also get some context with it as well. So you can watch the whole video or just that part with the word that you are trying to learn. And then I will look that phrase up or that word up on Twitter. So I'll search Twitter, I'll search mind-blowing. Now I like to do this because you can see the latest tweets with these words and expressions in there. It really gives you an idea of how the words are used in a modern scenario. You have thousands of examples, and you can look at one that's most recent, look at the top examples, but it's really nice. If you're looking up a larger phrase, it's good to put the phrase in quotation marks so that the results show you more accurate results based on what you're looking for. But the nice thing about the tweets being recent is that it gives me an opportunity to engage with my target language and engage in discussion. And if I want to, I can reply to the person's tweet, make a comment, or read what tweets that person is responding to. And it really just gives me more of a context instead of just learning a word or a phrase by itself or in the one article that I originally was reading. Now I have a lot of examples really fast, right? So once I've done that, then I like to go to Google News, look up the phrase in Google News, and most of the time headlines will appear that have that phrase in the headline, or the story will be related to something that the word or phrase relates to. So that's very helpful. And then I look up a few headlines and take some notes of those, get a few examples. Then I move on to lyrics.com. Now this site's really good for searching for songs by their lyrics. So you can just type in a phrase or a word and it will pull up a lot of songs that use that phrase or word. So it works in multiple languages. It's a great resource because it's, as you probably know, not always common that the song will be titled by what you're looking for. So it's just great to be able to see several different songs with that word or that phrase in the lyrics. And I will look for those songs on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you stream your music. And I will learn the songs and listen to them. And I inadvertently learn a lot of other vocabulary as well. So as you can see, this works and has a lot of benefits for learning not just the phrase or word that you wanted to learn, but you're also going to learn how it's used in different contexts. So it's a win-win for everyone. So after I've done all of that, then I move on to looking up the word or phrase in the dictionary in my target language. I just find this to be a helpful step because looking up anything in your target language and getting a definition in your target language is much better than just doing a simple translation because it will give you a way of describing that word. So that way, if you forget the word, you still can remember how to define the word, and you can, in conversation, maybe not use the word or phrase, but you can define it and somebody can tell you, oh, you probably are trying to say this. There I go to the Lingy dictionary, which is just a comprehensive dictionary. There's a few of these out on the internet that I found, but they do a great job of showing you multiple examples of the word translated. So I believe this one takes a lot of text from European documents, and so you'll see a lot of English translations if you're learning English, but it'll show multiple examples. So it gives you an idea of how different professionals have translated this word or phrase before. So that's extremely helpful. Finally, after all that, just to make sure I have the right word and that I didn't make some sort of connection that was actually a wrong translation, I will go to Google Translate just to kind of verify my work and see what Google Translate has to say and how it translates the word or phrase. As you can see here, from what I see, I've never actually translated this phrase mind-blowing to Spanish, but what Google's giving me isn't really the way I would have explained this in Spanish. I probably would have used some sort of way of talking about something that surprised me or impressed me, but this is a new vocabulary word for me, and so I don't 100% trust it. I'll probably go with the other examples that I've seen, but again, this is just a good way to verify your work. No, you don't have to start with what I started with the news or with Twitter or Youglish. That's just the order I like to go in. You can go in any order that you want, obviously. You can start with Google Translate or whatever translator you're using if you like to know the answer and then move on from there. But the important thing is that you're really engaging with the vocabulary, you're using the word, and you're seeing it in several different contexts. Another thing I like to do is I like to record my whole study session and record myself repeating what I'm seeing on the screen as far as different phrases and different contexts that the phrase is used in. And I like to listen to that recording later. So that's extremely helpful for me to be able to take what I have just studied and listen to myself studying. Basically, is what I'm doing a little bit later. Seems a little weird at first, but it definitely helps a lot with the retention of vocabulary and words. So I highly recommend it, but it's not for everybody. If you're like me and your voice drives you nuts, it really takes a while to get over that. But once you do, you'll find this to be a very, very effective way of learning new vocabulary. So let me know what you think about this method. Go ahead and tell me if you think this is something that would work for you, if you found this helpful, or if you have a better method. I would love to hear it as well, because I'm always interested in the latest methods and trying new things and seeing how I can learn a language most effectively. That's all for today. Keep studying and keep learning. We'll see you in the next one.